Today's edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Drobo, a family of safe, expandable, yet simple-to-use storage arrays. Drobos are designed to protect your important data forever. This holiday season, give someone a Drobo to keep all their files and memories safe forever. And by MacVoices Magazine, our free Flipboard magazine that brings you some of the best Mac, iPhone, and iPad productivity tips on the web. High in signal, low in noise, just like MacVoices, MacVoices Magazine includes information on how you can get more out of your Apple technology. Subscribe at macvoices.com/magazine or search for MacVoices Magazine on Flipboard. Welcome to the MacJury on MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is gift guide number 5. As I've said before, we're doing more of these this year because everybody seems to love them. We have so many great friends that want to share their wisdom and help us spend our money that it just seems logical to do it. And we can all use a little help with gift shopping at this time of year. So with that, just for the folks who maybe this is your very first gift guide, the rules are pretty simple. We encourage anything with a power switch, but actually nothing is really off base or off topic. And the only rule we really have is that you're not supposed to repeat anything picked by a prior panelist or anyone on this panel. So occasionally we have steals and we have angry words, but it's all in good fun. So with that, let's find out who's here for this one. First up, the whole way from the UK, Mr. Garry GazMaz. Gaz, it's great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to see you as well, Chuck. I think the last time we saw each other was probably back in Macstock on the first time, to be honest with you.
I know.
That's a long time ago, it seems, and they're doing quite well. Yes, I'm doing very well, thank you. Lots of things happening in personal life. We're moving home, possibly moving home, hopefully moving home. Rugby, I'm always doing that. Quite busy, and was thinking I wasn't going to be on one of these Christmas gift guides, so relaxed. And then you sent out a new invite with some more dates, and I thought I can make that now. And then I panicked. So yeah. We'll have to see how well I've done. Not all of my gifts, in fact, only one of my gifts that I've got, actually, I own. The others I'm drooling over and hoping that someone might be listening.
Well, that's good. Then you can send them a copy of the show and say,
Absolutely.
If you're looking for something. Yeah, and I'm kind of honored because I think this may be the first time in the history of the MacJury that 2 guys with a tie are on at the same time. So good job.
I thought I had to do it.
Yeah, good job. It's great to have you, Gaz. Next up, Mr. Josh Centers. Josh, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back, Chuck.
It's always a pleasure. What have you been up to?
Well, I've been doing my usual thing at Tidbits, getting articles out, writing articles, and I've been working on updating Take Control of Apple TV to get a small update out before the end of the year. And I'm also currently training to become a blacksmith, so, always good to have a backup plan.
Are you expecting like postmodern civilization or something?
Well, you never know. And, in any case, it's always good to have a nice cross-peen hammer around, for any number of uses. So, plus it's a good excuse to get out of the house for a couple hours, get away from technology for a couple hours every week.
Okay. Was that a sneaky first pick, Josh?
No, but I will say if anyone's looking to shop for me, scrap metal is cheap, always available, and always useful. So, I can always do something with it.
Good to know. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me.
For his very first MacJury and the very first gift guide, Mr. Mike Schmitz, who I met at Macstock this year. He's an organizational expert, and I'm one of his biggest projects. So, Mike, it's great to have you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. We met at Macstock, and actually I did meet you, GazMaz, but you probably don't remember it because I attended the first one, but I didn't speak at the first one. It's great to see you again.
I recognize your face, and when you came on earlier, I recognize your face, so that's where it's from. Thank you very much.
Good. So, Mike, where do you claim to post all your wisdom to?
I do a lot of writing over at Agent Efficiency, and I occasionally host the Productivity Show, which is our official podcast. I also have a podcast that I do with Joe Bulick called Bookworm, where we basically dissect different self-help productivity books and talk about what we got out of them and hold each other accountable. One of the ones we did actually was Deep Work by Cal Newport, and there's a story about a guy who's a blacksmith in there. So I appreciate your hobby.
You have to send me a link to that.
Will do.
Okay, so we've got all kind of products already being exchanged right here among ourselves. Oh, that's great. Well, it's great to have you, Mike. I'm glad you were able to make it. So
Me too.
we're about to get started, and I'm really anxious. I was telling the panel that as these shows go on, it gets harder for me because I'm on each one. So I have to keep coming up with 4 new things and try to make sure that I get them in before somebody steals my picks. But I'm going to let them go first. I always bring up the rear. So with that, Gaz, you get the first pick for this show.
Yeah, I'm going to have to send you a link to a couple, in fact, most of these. So I'm going to put this link in the Skype chat, but I'll describe it. Now, this is actually something which I'm drooling over at this point in time. And it is also something which I've actually reviewed for, actually it's for My Mac, which is the podcast that I do with Guy Searle as well. It's the My Mac website. But I actually did a review of these particular speakers, and they're not cheap speakers, they're higher end speakers, and they come from a company over here in the UK called Ferguson Hill. Now, I do believe that they transport these speakers around the world, but they are rather large. So I'm not quite sure how economic these would be to be delivered outside of Europe, let's put it that way. But I'm pretty sure that Ferguson Hill actually send these out. Now, speakers, lots of speakers around, but these are somewhat different. They're an acrylic made speaker, and it's like a horn. So you get 2 horns which then stand at the end, and you then have 2 bass speakers sitting in the middle, which are like little domes. They're spheres, and they're also made out of acrylic. Now, this acrylic is clear. So these are really standout speakers. Now, the ones I tested were really for computers and for, smaller rooms. But the sound that they put out was absolutely fabulous, especially if you're an acoustic or you like more classical type music. Although I did listen to a wide range of different types of music on them, and they were absolutely superb. My daughter used to play in a brass band over here in the UK, which were British national champions several times over the number of years that she played with them, and they are pretty good. And the sound coming out of these speakers, it was like we was listening to them at one of their shows or actually at one of their rehearsals. Now, they come with an amplifier, which you can plug, obviously, any audio device into. They also have a system, which is a subwoofer, which you can come with them. So if you want to beef up the sound, they do come with a subwoofer. But the set on their own, they're normally priced at £700. So these are not cheap. These are going to be the most expensive piece of equipment that I'm going to be suggesting for tonight. But the subwoofer is an extra £300. So you're talking around £1,000, which is a lot of money for a speaker set. But I have to say, I was really, truly impressed. And if you want good sounding speakers, which is a talking point when people come into your home, you can't go far wrong. Now, Ferguson Hill also do some large speakers. The speakers that I'm talking about is the FH007, FH007, or FH007, if you want a James Bond reference there. But they also do some really, really large speakers. And if you've got a spare £20,000 hanging around in your back pocket that you'd like to spend, then have a look at the Ferguson Hill FH001, £20,000. Probably one of the more expensive recommendations you might get, Chuck.
I would say so. I've got one in my back pocket that might beat that, but
damn.
No, but I don't think it's going to be on this show unless I get desperate. So, but very, very nice. They look fantastic.
Yes, I hope you can get a shot in the show when it goes out. I don't know whether you'll be able to do that, but yes, they are pretty. They do create a conversation piece when people walk in the room. Definitely.
Great. Okay, so speakers to start off this MacJury. Josh, what are you gonna go expensive, or are you gonna go cheap, or
Well,
what is that?
I'm not going to go 700 pounds, but I do have something very similar. You might can guess what it is. So this is also a horn-like speaker, except it is powered the old-fashioned way through wood. And this is made by a craftsman in Alpharetta, Georgia. And I was recently in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which has been suffering some terrible wildfires lately, and they had an arts and crafts fair there. And I bought one of these off them. It's called a mango beat, and it's carved from mango wood. And you see here, you have a slot with with leather right there, and you stick your phone in there, and the speaker gets piped into this horn and out the sides. Can I play some music, or is that a copyright thing?
If we keep it short.
Okay, we'll keep it real short. Put a little. And you see how much louder it makes your iPhone. Now, the only problem with this, because the iPhone 7 has the stereo speakers, it amplifies the bottom but not the top. That's the only problem, but it makes the sound a lot louder and crisper. And also, with these new phones not having headphone jacks, and I generally think that Bluetooth audio is terrible, although I do have a recommendation along that line. This is for about $36 off Etsy. If you go to Etsy and search for Mango Beat, you can get one of these, $36, and you support a small, semi-local craftsman who makes these things. So pretty cool thing to keep around your kitchen or whatever when you're playing some music or podcasts.
Very, very cool. And it goes along with Gaz's thing of just being a conversation piece, if nothing else. Right. I get a lot of questions about this.
Good. That's exactly what I was thinking. Put that on your side, and then pop your phone in, turn it on. Lovely.
Yeah.
There you go.
You got me in a stranglehold, Josh. Maybe somebody will get the reference.
I'm going to get so much hate mail for playing Ted Nugent on here. That's a great guitar riff. I don't care, how nutty the guy is.
Exactly. Okay. Mike, are you going to keep us going down the speaker path or take us somewhere else?
I think I have to. Actually, one of the things I was thinking about was the Sonos Play One. I've got a couple different Sonos speakers at my house, and I absolutely love these. What I like about them is the Sonos application actually allows you to do like a universal search of all of your music. So you can have different music sources. You could have Spotify, you could have Apple Music if you have multiple sources, but you can also look at the local files that are on your device, and you can search everything at once. So that's one big advantage of the Sonos speakers over just like a AirPlay type speaker. The other thing I really like about it is that you can have a single source and you can stream different music to different places in the house. So the way around that in the past was something like Spotify would be have somebody log into your account on a different computer or whatever where they're listening to music, and then when you try to listen to it at the same time, it says you can't do that, kicks the other person out. But with Sonos, like we have, I think, 4 different Sonos speakers now spread out throughout our house, and we can send different music to the different rooms in the house from one single source. They've really put a lot of work into the app recently. They added a thing where you can kind of tune your room, which sounds kind of corny, and the whole process looks kind of weird because like it emits this pulsating sound, and you go and you wave your phone around like the walls of your room, but it really does sound great. It's not going to sound as great as the FH007s, I'm sure, but it's also going to be a lot less expensive, and it's very convenient. So it's actually helped me and my family listen to a lot more music just because it is so convenient to get music in whatever room of the house you happen to be in.
Mike, as you were describing it, I really never thought about the fact that I've not tried this, and maybe you have, because I have Sonos speakers too. Have you ever tried to send different music sources to different rooms? And what I mean by that is, say, Pandora in one room, Spotify to another, something that's local on your hard drive to another?
Yeah, Yeah, you can do that. I mean, what you do when you pick the sound source for a specific speaker in a specific room, like we have ours labeled like living room, master bedroom, basement. And so you select the source, and then you select where you want to play the audio from. So it could be media that is on a server somewhere. It could be Apple Music. It could be Spotify. But you just select the source. And so in that case, yeah, you could select upstairs. In the living room, you're playing Pandora. Downstairs, you're playing Apple Music or Spotify or something like that.
Never thought of trying it until right now. So. Yeah, I love the Sonos stuff. It is a little expensive, but it sounds great, and the convenience is fantastic. Good first pick. Gee, I feel a little pressure to pick a speaker. I really do. So I'm going to go to the other end of the spectrum for a very specific application. I'm picking the Anker Soundcore Sport Portable Bluetooth speaker. Now, this is a waterproof speaker. It's only about that big by that big. But I love this little speaker for primarily one use, and that is to listen to something in the shower. This has got plenty of volume. It's got a decent tone. And, of course, in the shower, you're in a bit of a confined space, and you don't want too much volume or it'll distort. But I also want something that is easy to use. The controls are easy to use. I did do a MacVoices briefing on this if you want a detailed review. But the battery life is terrific. You do have to find some way to hang it or sit it on a shelf or whatever, depending you have in your shower. But, Mike, I guess this goes into your area. I just hate getting in the shower and wasting time. So I either want to enjoy some music, or I want to listen to a podcast or listen to something else, and that also might come out later in another pick. But I want that ability to send something, audio programming, into my shower. And this is my favorite speaker. Now, I've had favorites in the past, but this one I think has better battery life and actually a bit better sound as well. And if you're really, really productivity oriented, it also has a microphone so you can take calls in the shower. I have tried this. It doesn't work out so well for the person on the other end, but I can hear them fine. So that's probably a picture you didn't need, but I gave it to you anyway. So, again, I think we have a first. I think that's the first ever all-speaker round for the MacJury. Good guys. Good. Gaz, that means that you have to set the tone for this round.
Okay, so again, this is something that when I was going through the list, I thought, well, definitely I could choose this, and I have that. It's already been picked. Or I could go for, no, it's already been picked. No. So I went for, again, something which I'm less desiring over, but something which I've been looking at for a long time. And as we are moving into a new house, I've put the link again into the show notes. Or into Skype, so hopefully it will pop up for you guys. This is something which is available, and if I'm buying a new house, I'm going to be checking my house for heat loss. This is called the FLIR One. Now, I don't know if you've heard of a company called FLIR. I think they're an American company, actually. That's FLIR. And this is called the FLIR One, which is a little device which connects to the bottom of your smartphone. Now, they've got a couple of different options available, one for Android and one for iOS, which is on the Lightning port. And basically, this is a thermal imaging camera, and I've actually got one on order, if I'm honest. So this is not, don't buy me one, folks. No, buy me one if you want. I'll send this one back. But I've got one of these on order because, as I said, we are moving to a new house, and I want to make sure that I've got the house is fully insulated. And actually, to be honest with you, I'm going to have some fun with it as well. So it's a thermal imaging camera which displays the image, and it's a live image as well. I don't think there's very little delay. This FLIR one's got lots of great reviews, and I have seen one in use very, very briefly, but it was just for a brief moment. And it does look pretty awesome. And I think that once I've used it for its intended use, I've got a feeling I'll be just going around seeing where I'm losing heat or the body heat, looking at my nose, for example, things like that. But if you're science orientated at all, I've got a feeling that you'll perhaps enjoy using this.
Good pick. Actually, I've talked to these guys at CES for a couple different years.
Brilliant.
And this is a really interesting thing. Obviously, that's one application. If you're not familiar with the infrared stuff, it's big, folks, in commercial operations, in boiler operations, to determine weak spots in pipes and all.
Yep.
But this is a much more kind of down-to-earth application.
Yes.
And certainly for what you're thinking about, Gaz, that's fantastic. So
now, I don't think I mentioned the price. I think if you go to the Fleur One site themselves, it's priced at $249. However, over here I've seen it all over the place for around £165. So I would fully expect that you'd be able to see a much better price for the Fleur One in the US as well. But that at around £200, $250, casual use, maybe not. Bring it down to $165 or $160, $170. More in the area where I might just throw that money at it. I mean, the new earphones coming out from Apple are going to be £160, so why not get something like this to, save yourself some money as well?
Yeah, good pick. Although, unfortunately, I don't think Josh could ever use it because everything in the blacksmith shop is hot, so it'll just be one big glow. Josh, what do you have for us? Josh, your microphone is off.
Okay. I have another audio-related dingus, and it's not a mute switch for the microphone. I've actually used it on your show before, Chuck. It is the Antec Smart Bean, this little dingus here. Now, what this does, so if you have an iPhone 7 or some other device that does not have a headphone jack, but it has a Bluetooth connection, what the Smart Bean does, it has, let me get this, there we go, now we can see it. So it's a little lithium battery-powered Bluetooth transmitter, and has a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack right there. And so what you can do, you can take any pair of headphones, plug them into it, and see, this has been sitting for a couple of months now. I haven't really had a chance to use it. But see, I just turned it on there. It's still got battery life, lots of standby battery power, and it has a belt clip. And so if you have an iPhone 7, you cancel this pairing request now. If you have an iPhone 7 or some other device that doesn't, like I know some of the upcoming Samsung smartphones won't have a headphone jack. So if you have something like that and you want to use your old pair of headphones with it, or let's say you're in a car that has an auxiliary port, but you want to connect via Bluetooth, then you can just plug this thing into the auxiliary port in your car and then connect your phone via Bluetooth to the Smart Bean. And so it's a very versatile little device to keep on your person for connecting headphones and other things, other audio solutions via Bluetooth.
Josh, do you find that if you're trying to use it with a phone or anything, do you find that there's a significant amount of delay with this?
A little bit, maybe a little less than a second. So you'll notice it with video. When I'm recording myself for our Tidbits podcast, I do find it's unusable for that, but I have used it on a couple of podcasts, including yours, and it worked just fine for that. So maybe not for heavy professional use, but for music, it absolutely will work. It'll work fine for movies. You might notice a slight delay, but if you have a favorite pair of headphones around that, you'd still like to keep using even though your phone doesn't have a headphone jack, and it's $25 on Amazon, so very inexpensive, great little gift for anyone who misses the headphone jack.
So you were using it on the show and I didn't even know it, so I guess that's a good testimony to it. Okay, great. Mike, round two.
All right, I'm going to paste the link in Skype here so you guys can see this because this is going to be a little bit odd.
We like odd.
This is the Philips HF3520 wake-up light. And this is an alarm clock which is designed to take advantage of your body's natural sleep cycles so that you wake up rested and ready to go, as opposed to feeling like you can't even get out of bed. And this I'm being a productivity nerd. I've done a lot of research into like how to get better sleep. It's not just more sleep, although a lot of people, don't get enough sleep. But there's the sleep cycles, which have a lot to do with how you end up starting your day. So most people, they set their alarm clock, it goes off. If you happen to be at that point in the middle of a sleep cycle in your REM sleep, where you're really in a deep sleep and your alarm goes off, you feel like you got hit by a ton of bricks, and it's just really, really hard to start your day. So what this does is about a half an hour before you set your alarm for, so in the picture there it says 7 o'clock, by default it'll start 30 minutes before then. So about 6:30 it'll start glowing, and you can choose from some different sounds that it'll play. So I have like an ocean sound that it'll play, and it'll gradually get brighter and it will gradually get louder until at 7 o'clock, at that point it's functioning like a normal alarm clock, but it will gradually get you out of your sleep cycle so that you feel more rested when you wake up, as opposed to just blaring at you when it's time to get up or you're going to be late for work.
Do you use one of these, Mike?
I do. I actually just got one a couple of weeks ago. Amazon had a sale, so I've entertained the idea for a long time. I've been using like the Sleep Cycle app for a while, and this just was something that I had my eye on for a while, and then finally, when it got cheap enough, I bit the bullet, and I absolutely love it. So
you are finding it makes a difference?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been tracking my sleep for a while. I've had a Sense, I think by company is Hello, kind of the same sort of idea where it times your alarm. You set a range, and then it'll kind of get you out of your deep sleep, and so you feel more rested and ready to go when you wake up. But the light is something that really makes a big difference. Your body, just by simulating that sunrise, that is a cue for your body to quit making the melatonin, and that it makes you groggy, and it helps you just naturally wake up, as opposed to being jarred out of your sleep. So it's kind of even hard to explain without doing all the nerdy research behind it. But yeah, this really does make a difference.
It's sort of the same principle as night shift in iOS now, where it yellows the screen so it doesn't keep you up at night.
Yep, exactly. And Flux even before that. In fact, if you go to the Flux website, they've got tons and tons and tons of research on their website about the effectiveness of their approach, getting rid of that blue light. So this actually creates the blue light that causes your body to wake up.
I really fancy the idea of this, because at this point in time, my dear lady wife has got the dog barking on the phone. So we get a rather abrupt wake up at call in the morning at the moment. So I'm going to see if I can persuade her that this could be a much better idea. Definitely.
And this stuff really works. My sleep has improved dramatically since Apple included night shift in iOS. It wasn't that difficult for me to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning, not realizing what time it was because all the blue light. Now I could sleep, usually 1 a.m. at the latest, which still isn't great, but a lot better than what I was doing before. So yeah, it was definitely an impact.
Yeah, and really the thing that got me going down this whole path of maximizing my sleep and really productivity in general was the fact that I was diagnosed with epilepsy. And so I have to take medication, which naturally makes me more drowsy. So I have to make sure that I get enough sleep. And so maximizing the quality of my sleep was something that just seemed like a very, very natural fit, because otherwise the medication, it would be hard for me to go throughout my day.
Is there any research on what happens when you then go outside in the wintertime and it's dark outside? So you've woken yourself up to what should be natural sunlight, and then you go outside and it's dark again. I wonder if there's any research on, or is that too late then? You're up, you're around, your body's already done the job that it needs to do to get up and get.
That's a really good point. I live in Wisconsin, which means that the sun doesn't shine for about 3 months in the winter. So I know a lot of people in this area that have those indoor lights that simulate the sunlight, because people just get really, really lethargic and depressed because there is no sun.
Yeah, they're not getting their vitamin D.
Yep, exactly.
I'm kind of impressed all you guys actually sleep. I mean, that's I would have said at least 2 of the 3 of you don't get much sleep because you do so much. But, Okay. Good. Interesting pick. I'm going to have to look into this. So I'm going to finish off round 2 with something that if you're a new MacBook owner, or MacBook Pro owner, excuse me, or new MacBook, probably isn't going to be of much use to you without some juggling. But if you have any of the legacy Macs or the 5K iMac, I'm going to recommend a Thunderbolt dock. Now, please pay attention. This is not a USB-C dock. This is a Thunderbolt dock. But the first thing it does, I should say, it's a Thunderbolt dock from Otherworld Computing, OWC. So the first thing it does is it takes all those ports that are in, or some of the ports that are in the back of your computer, connects to one Thunderbolt, and then puts them down where you can actually get to them, which I really love. This particular dock, and I've got to read it because there's so many things, this comes with 5 USB 3 ports and a single high-powered USB 3 port. There's an HDMI port that will support up to 4K, a 3.5 mono auto jack, full-speed gigabit Ethernet port, and one FireWire 800 port, as well as a microphone or line-in audio port. So you get a lot of ports duplicated from the back of your machine, accessible right up front, but more importantly, you get a lot more ports because that doesn't preclude you from using anything except the one Thunderbolt that you're using up to connect the dock. I think this is a great device, and I've got one sitting here right under this iMac that lets me connect a variety of Drobos and hard drives and all sorts of things. Also lets me use some legacy gear, some legacy FireWire gear if I want to. Yeah, they're not exactly inexpensive, but the idea that I can do this it's solving some problems. We're seeing a lot more docks come out for the USB-C side and the Thunderbolt 3 side with the new MacBook Pros. But for some of the legacy things, I think these are going to be around for a while. And if you find that you've run out of ports or just they're really inconvenient, this is the way you want to go. And again, that's the OWC version. There are a number of them out there. And they're all good, I think, but the OWC is my pick for the most ports for the money. So
that's almost worth it for the price, just so you don't have to reach behind your iMac to plug in the headphone.
Agreed, Josh.
Because that's really hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, after a while you get kind of trained, but as to where it is. But you're right. You know, it's there's a bit of convenience here, but also just the idea. I mean, that's 5 USB 3 ports. So that right there, that'll sell it, you know, if nothing else will sell it. But the ability to connect a second monitor, a second 4K monitor, and everything else, yeah, makes it I think a really good gift for someone who has a legacy machine and is already out of ports. Today's edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Drobo, a family of safe, expandable, yet simple to use storage arrays. Drobos are designed to protect your important data forever. This holiday season, give someone a Drobo to keep all their files and memories safe forever. Storing your data on a Drobo is just about as safe as you can make it, because Drobo doesn't just rely on a single drive. Drobo's Beyond RAID technology performs some behind-the-scenes magic so that if 1 or even 2 drives in your Drobo go bad, your data is still safe. This isn't a mirroring or syncing kind of solution where one drive automatically makes a copy of your data to the second drive or syncs one drive to another. Beyond RAID spreads your data across multiple drives with some extra information so that if something goes wrong, Drobo can make sure that your data is back in shape and ready to use. How long does this take? It doesn't. If 1 or even 2 drives go bad, your data is still fully accessible. No waiting, no hassle. Just replace the bad drive with a good one, and you're ready to go in case anything happens again. And when we're talking about spinning hard drives and all those moving parts, it will happen again. Might be 3 years from now. Might be tomorrow. But it will happen. Of course, that's just part of the Drobo story. Safety is key, but so is expandability. So that when your storage needs grow, your Drobo can grow with you, easily. Same procedure. Pop an old, smaller drive out, pop a new, larger drive in, and your pool of storage automatically goes up. How long does that take? It doesn't either. If I were in one room with your Drobo and you were in another working on your Mac, I could be upgrading that Drobo and you would never know it because your data is all right where you left it, ready to use. And all of this swapping of drives is accomplished with those most sophisticated of tools, your hands. No screwdrivers, no Torx wrenches, no power saws. Simple, efficient, safe, expandable, Drobo. Visit Drobo store by December 31st and use the discount code MV20 at checkout to take 20% off a selection of Drobo models, including the Drobo 5D, Drobo 5DT, Drobo 5N, and all 8-bay and 12-bay models. You might save $100. You might save $800. It all depends on which Drobo model you pick. Any way you take it, that's a deal that can't be passed up. Do it now and make your holidays and your new year a little safer with Drobo. Thanks to Drobo for their support of Mac Voices. So that wraps up round 2. So that one was a bit more varied. We didn't have just one thing. And Mike probably got the award for the most offbeat product pick for that round. So Gaz, take us into round 3.
Okay, now this is something I own, though it's not a physical item, and you do need a Mac, and I'm going to say a Mac here, to actually use this software. We're okay with software, I hope, because if not, I've got an alternative. Okay.
Sure.
Now, I'm not quite sure how you'd gift this. I'm sure that you could gift it if you buy it, but if you want to give the person you're going to, your Mac friend that you want to give this to or gift this to, just recommend it to them. Ask them if they've got it, and if they haven't, just tell them they need to get it. I've had this piece of software for a long, long time. They keep on top of the updates. They keep updating it. And it comes from Sinclair Software. Now, I'm sure you've heard of them, Chuck. They've been around for quite a long time. And the software that I use on a daily basis, well, not even daily, hourly basis, whenever I'm on my Mac, is Default Folder. It's Default Folder X5, and it's just a great piece of software. And I find myself, when I work in an environment where we use Windows, and I just find myself wishing that I had Default Folder software at work, because it is such a time saver. Now, basically, it's around saving and files, and it's also around locations of folders. So the menu bar option comes up, and you can put your favorite locations on there. It also comes up with a default area, which is your computer. It comes up with recent folders, recent files. There's all sorts of options there. But when you're saving items, it also comes up with a dialogue, a save dialogue, around the window that you will normally see, and it gives you locations. You can then click on a location which you might have open, and it automatically goes to that location. There is so much in Default Folder that I'm probably not doing it justice now, but I keep going back to it every time I have an update on my Mac. I will almost, one of the first applications that I'll make sure has been reinstalled is Default Folder. Now, because of its integration with the Finder, and because of its integration in the background, you won't find it on the Mac App Store, unfortunately. So you have to go to the Sinclair software or sinclairsoft.com website and go and buy it from there. But it's worth every penny or every cent, which I think it's currently around $34.95, which equates to about £30 and 11 pence currently in the UK. I don't know if you use this, Chuck. I saw you put a thumbs up when I mentioned it, but I just love this piece of software.
Absolutely. I'm with you. It's one of the, in no particular order, it's one of the first 5 utilities I install on any new Mac, because it just feels naked without it. So yeah. I'm with you. I cannot recommend it highly enough. And I saw Mike shaking his head too.
Yeah, this is definitely agent efficiency approved. We recommend this all the time.
Yeah. It's the one thing that you can guarantee that everyone who owns a Mac is going to use is they use an open and a save dialog, and this improves it vastly. So.
Yeah, massively. Yeah. They've just improved the software over the years, and the integration now with the Finder is just superb.
Yeah, it's the kind of software that when you get one of the updates that comes out and it's a free update, you just want to send them a couple bucks to say thank you for keeping this going, because it is so important. Good. Okay, so software pick for the third round. Josh, what do you have?
Well, that's a perfect segue into my shameless self-promotion round. We're currently running our membership drive at Tidbits. Now, we started this membership program a few years ago, and it's as little as $20 a year, and you get a lot of great benefits for that if you read Tidbits. For instance, you don't see ads on the website. You get the full RSS feed. Most importantly, though, you support independent Apple journalism. You also keep me employed because this is where the money for my salary comes from. But more to the point, with a Tidbits membership, you get some incredible discounts on software. For instance, for default folder X, you save $10 on that if you have a Tidbits membership. Now consider it's $20 for a Tidbits membership. You get $10 off default folder X. So that drops it from $34.95 to $24.95. Additionally, you get 25% off Nicest Writer Pro, 20% off Keyboard Maestro. 25% off 1Password, which is a great app. So if you're planning on giving any software away, of course, the Tidbits membership makes a great gift in and of itself. But if you want to buy software for your fellow Mac users, this is a great way to save money while you do it. And on top of that, Take Control books make great Christmas presents, and you save, I believe, 30% on Take Control books if you're a Tidbits member. And so let's say you're giving somebody like an iPad or an Apple Watch for Christmas. We can bundle in, iOS 10 and Take Control Crash Course or Apple Watch Take Control Crash Course. You can bundle that in with a gift, and if you're a Tidbits member, you save money on that as well. So you drop that from, the Apple Watch book's $10. You'll pay about $7 for that. And so, if you're planning on buying a lot of Apple-related stuff, the Tidbits membership will save you a lot of money over the holiday season.
Good. Very good. A good point on the discounts, but good point on Tidbits as well, because we definitely want to keep that going and keep you employed and keep you out of the blacksmith shop. Mike, help me out. Round 3.
All right. Well, since software is the theme, I'm going to recommend a service which is still in beta, but you can sign up for it, and that is SetApp.
Ooh.
So let me share the link here. This is a really interesting idea. There's been quite a stir in the Mac community with applications like Text Expander and 1Password switching to subscription models. And even though I personally have a Text Expander subscription, I use it every single day. And the statistics last time I looked at it said that I had saved like 40 days of typing. So it's totally worth it for me. And I'm happy to support that company. And I'm happy to do it for software like 1Password too, because I use it literally every single day. There's quickly going to become a point, if not for me, for the average Mac user, where they're not going to want a bunch of different subscriptions for a bunch of different applications. That writing is pretty much on the wall. And so SetApp, which is a service which was started by the guys people over at Real Mac. So they make Clean My Mac, and they make Gemini, I believe, the duplicate deleter, a bunch of really other quality apps. They started the service, which is $9.99 a month once it comes out of beta, which will be in March 1st. And then for $9.99 a month, you get access to all of these applications, which the selection that they have right now is already pretty impressive. So looking at the list here, there's things like iThoughts X, which I use for mind mapping, and that application I think is somewhere like $70 or $80 if you buy it, buy the full version. iStats Menu, Marked by Brett Terpstra, Ulysses, which is my writing app of choice. There's 49 apps in this collection right now, and they've said that they want it to grow to about 300 applications. And so I think that this is a really interesting idea for a subscription service. They're kind of billing it as like the Netflix for apps. And I hope that this does well, because I fully understand the advantages from a developer's perspective of a subscription service like this. And I want to support the developers of the software that I use every single day. But I also don't want to have 25 different subscriptions for Mac software. So having it all in one place like this, I think this is a really interesting idea.
I am so glad you picked this because it's in beta. It hasn't received quite as much publicity yet, although I think it's going to happen quickly. I've been in on part of the private beta, and I think this is brilliant. a few MacJury's ago, we talked about software subscriptions and, whatever happened to micropayments, so that you were paying maybe a little more appropriately for software that you don't use, as you said, Mike, every day or every hour. And because it's tough, to lay down a $5 or $10 subscription for something that you'd need once a week, once a month, maybe even less. This is just a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I really hope that it gets a lot of steam. It seems like just even this week they've gotten a lot of press. I saw Federico Vitici over at Mac Stories wrote up something on it, and I've seen a couple other write-ups on it. So, and even since I joined the beta last week, they've added a couple new applications to it. So I'm excited to see where it matures to. But I think at $10 a month, that's definitely doable. I mean, Ulysses is $50. So if you even buy a couple of these applications a year, which I certainly do, then it's worth it.
Yeah, and I know that there's going to be an objection that somebody's going to say, well, I already own a lot of these apps, so I don't want to pay for them again. Pay for them again, because from all the indications, the updates will be included with this, and I don't know how they're splitting it out among the developers. That's not my issue. That's up for everybody to decide. But I like the idea that I'll be supporting the developers, paying something that I feel is probably equivalent to the value of a lot of this stuff, and not going down that. Well, not having to hit those $20 and $30 upgrades or $50, $60, $70 price points either. So I think this has the potential to be a win-win. Yeah, great pick. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Do we know
Yes.
what the versions of the software are on them? Are they the most up to date? Do they get updated? Is that the way it works?
Yeah, they are the most up-to-date versions, and they're updated through the Set App service. So the Real Mac people, I believe they have a developer framework that they've been working on. I believe that's been out for over a year now, which people can use to update their applications if you don't submit it, obviously, through the Mac App Store. And so maybe this was their long game, play all along. But I do know that has been used in applications. I think that Marked by Brett Terpstra has used that. Don't quote me on that, but I know I've seen some big applications that have used that updating framework that they've developed. And so all the applications that I've used in here, these are the full current versions. And then they can also update them instantly instead of waiting for them to propagate through the Mac App Store. So,
Excellent.
Good. Very, very nice. Good pick. So I'm going to end up this round with something that is practical, and because I like to keep my Macs as pristine as possible. With MacBooks and MacBook Pros, that is very difficult because they're forever going with me everywhere, sliding in and out of backpacks, landing on restaurant tables, you name it. So I always have bought some kind of shell for my MacBook and MacBook Pros, just to protect them from the outside world. Then when I go to resell them, really the only issue is ever the keyboard wear, because I take the shells off and the outsides are pristine and they look perfect. So when I bought my MacBook recently, I went looking for the people I usually bought it from, and it looked nice, and it was the same shell I'd been using for a while, but I decided to try something different. This time I tried the Moshi eye glaze for my MacBook. It's extremely thin. If plastic can have a soft feel to it, it's got a soft feel to it. But so far, it has held up very well. It hasn't cracked in the corners or anything of that nature. And believe me, I'm not easy on my computers, unfortunately. I try to be, but that never seems to happen. And so I would recommend this if you two want to keep things looking good. If you want a little bit of customization, these can come in different colors. So you can have maybe a green or blue shell around your MacBook. But it's a simple thing. You put it on, and I know we buy these things so they're nice and light and thin. These shells do not add anything significant in the way of either weight or thickness. So it's not like you're saying, okay, well I bought this and now I'm adding a pound of protection to it. But I advocate doing this because I see so many MacBooks scratched up and messed up. And if you're also one of those people that likes to put stickers around the little Apple in the back and you think that's cool, well, this will protect that sticker too. So it'll always look good. So go and check it out, the Moshi Eye Glaze for MacBook. As of today, as of when we're recording this, I haven't seen anything come out yet for the new MacBook Pros. I'm hopeful because I really don't want to take my new MacBook Pro out until I have it protected. So we're coming up on the final round, the fourth and final round. So that means that picks have to be extra special or extra desperate, depending on your point of view. Gaz, what are you going to give us for your last pick?
I'm torn. I really am torn, Chuck, and I think I'm going to go with this is a need. This is a need from me. It's not a want. It's a need. No, it's a want actually. Basically, it's a little. We all like drones, don't we? We all love drones.
Oh yeah.
They're quite expensive though, aren't they? So how about getting a really little tiny drone which sits almost in the palm of your hand? So I've put a link to an Amazon item which I'm sure must be available over in the US, but it's a link to the UK site. And this is currently at £19. Now, it's not quite a drone, I'll admit, but it is a tiny little thing. It's a little quadcopter for under £19, and it's the Hubsan Nano Q4. And I thought on one of them it actually got a camera that I saw, but I can't actually see it on this, so I've got to be a little bit careful if I say this. So basically, you're going to be flying this in your house. It's going to be one of those things that lasts probably half an hour for 3 or 4 days, and then you might put it down and then give it to someone eventually. But hey, what the heck? We all love flying things around the house and buzzing, your nearest and dearest, and they'll soon throw things at it or you to stop you flying it around at them. But have a bit of fun. It's £19, $20, $22 probably, and you can have loads of fun with these things.
Chase the dog around, chase the wife around. Yeah.
Yeah, any of those on your choice. I mean, chase one until they get fed up, and then you chase the other one, and then they'll get fed up as well. Chase the dog around the garden with it. That's what I'd say. I'm not sure quite what the battery life is on it and how long that will last, but hey, it's all fun.
Good. A drone pick. I love it. I love it. This is you got a very varied set there, Gaz. That's cool.
I tried.
All right, Josh, what are you going to pull out this time?
All right, I've been trying to go from most expensive to least expensive, although somehow I've kept everything under $50 so far. So I think I won some sort of award for that. So my last thing here is a stocking stuffer that's useful for any iOS user, and even though it's kind of boring. So the thing is, Apple's lightning cables are just crap. Let's be honest. They tend to split, fall apart, the insulation's bad, et cetera, et cetera. They're also really expensive. So what the Wirecutter recommends, and I've started to recommend, is Anker, and Anker makes great stuff. They make great USB hubs and all that. They make their own MFI, Apple-certified lightning cables, the Anker Powerline and Powerline Plus lightning cables. And these are pretty great. They're not only cheaper than Apple's, they're $20 or less. Even like the fanciest ones, I think, top out maybe like $22. You can get them in different lengths. So you can get them all the way from 3 foot to 6 foot long. You can also get them in different colors. And you can also get braided ones if you need an extra heavy-duty lightning cable, which I do keep a braided one in my car, and it's held up really well. They're not perfect. I do have a 6 foot long cable that started to separate at the end between the plug and the insulation, but it still works fine. It's decaying better than an Apple cable would, because the Apple cable gets this tiny little split in it, but next thing you know, all the wires are spilling out, and you have exposed wiring. It's just really bad. So they're cheaper and they held up better. The insulation is thicker. There actually is some strain relief on the plug, so they hold up really well. And anyone with more than one iOS device, or even if you just have just an iPhone, you never have enough lightning cables. You just never do. You always need another one in another room, or you lose one, or you lend one, or you need some more in the car. If someone has anything that has a lightning plug, they always need more lightning cables. And the Anker Powerline cables are, in my book, the best you can buy.
Good choice. Very good choice. The durable cable thing seems to have become a trend. There are a number of companies out there that are making good things, but you do want to choose a reputable company. So, good. Okay, Mike, fourth pick.
All right. So you said for the rules that anything that had a power switch was fair game. This does not have a power switch, but it does have lots of switches, and it is just insanely cool, so I have to share it.
Okay.
It is the Fidget Cube. So this is something that was just a Kickstarter project, but you can now buy it directly from the company. And the Kickstarter project, their goal was $15,000. They raised almost $6.5 million. It's this little, they call it a vinyl desk toy, and it's got different switches. So it's got a rocker switch, it's got different clicky switches, it's got a little swivel wheel that glides, and the idea is that you can fidget with this thing and you're not going to be distracting to anybody else. I fidget all the time, and I used to be self-conscious about it, but I couldn't help it. I'd be in a meeting and I'd be clicking my pen. You can only see me from shoulders up, so like if I had a pen right now, I'd be clicking it and it'd probably be distracting. But what I've noticed is that fidgeting actually helps you focus. And there's been a lot of research on that people who tend to fidget, they can focus and they can do deep work, like we mentioned at the beginning. If you're able to focus on a specific task for any length of time, you can really increase the quality of your work. This is something that can help you focus, but you don't have to be public about it. This is a toy that you could just, it's a tiny little thing. You could even keep it in your pocket, and basically you can just choose whatever input method your body kind of responds to best, but it helps you focus and it helps relieve anxiety and stress from some of those situations. So I definitely backed this and can't wait to get mine.
So I'm trying to understand. So do the switches do anything?
They don't do anything. They provide tactile feedback, and so you can flip the switch back and forth to your heart's content. It's not actually going to do anything, but it's going to feel good and it's going to help you focus on whatever you happen to be working on. Fascinating.
And I had never heard research about fidgety people being productive or being able to focus. So that's really interesting.
Well, what's really odd about this is it's a kind of interesting idea, but it's the kind of thing, and the reason the Kickstarter project was so successful, I think, is that it really resonates with a certain kind of person. And so when I saw the video and I read about it, I'm like, yes, that is totally me. I need this thing because I do this all the time anyways. And I always thought that I was kind of the oddball because of that. But I mean, there's 154,000 other people who backed this project. So obviously I'm not the only one.
Yeah, Gaz is over here waving madly.
Yeah, I'm going to be pre-ordering one of these. I do find myself doing the same thing with my hands. If I've got a pen or anything, if I'm driving, I'll be flicking on the steering wheel or something. Or I've got my ring, I'll just be twizzling my ring around on my finger. So yeah, this sounds perfect.
Wow. Okay, I'm learning a lot about you guys. And what, Mike? Did you say $6 million?
Yeah, they raised $6.5 million, or $6,465,690 on their $15,000 goal.
That's almost has to be a little scary, as to now you're committed to try to deliver this thing in bulk, but I guess that's the way it happens sometimes. Gee, one of those things I could have thought of. Oh well. Well, I'm going to wrap up with Josh. You pronounce it Anker. I always pronounce it Anchor. I have no idea which is absolutely correct. I do know one thing though. I love their stuff. So,
Yeah.
however you pronounce it, it's great stuff. I'm going to recommend the Anker dashboard magnetic car mount. Now, a couple things here. Car mounts, there's so many of them out there. There's so many great options, but I struggle with the ones that mount on my windshield and then leave the little suction cup marks on my windshield. So I decided to try this. I really was very, very skeptical. In fact, the only reason I ordered it was because it is from Anker. Because the dashboard on my car has that pebbled effect, so it's not smooth where you can get a nice good seal. And I thought, I seriously doubt that this is going to work, but I'll try it. And I have been shocked at how well it has not fallen off since I applied it, probably 2 months ago now at this point. It's a magnetic mount, so if you're using your phone, this is an iPhone 6S or 7 Plus. There's a little metal plate between my phone and the backside of this case, so that when I get in the car, I just reach up and put that on the magnet, and it stays there nice and solid. But it's more the fact that I can adhere this to the dash. To the dashboard and not have to go to the window that I like, because it allows me to move it around a lot more and angle it a little bit. So the only thing, there are some out there, and Anker does not make these, and I did try one that give you like an extension so that you can pull the phone towards you, but the suction just never works. It gave up after like 2 hours. So that's why I tell you to stay away from those. I've tried the vent mounts, and those are also very convenient. The thing is, I'm just not sure that in the long term, either really hot or really cold air blowing on the back of my iPhone for extended periods of time while I'm driving is a good idea. So I wanted to get my phone away from that. Plus the fact that it blocks the hot or cold air that you're depending on to keep you comfortable. So this is my solution to it, and so far it has worked absolutely perfectly. And I don't have anything obstructing my view up in the windshield itself or marking my windshield with the suction cup marks. So go try it. It's very affordable, and I think you're going to like it. They make great products across the board.
Chuck, is there like a gimbal on the point on the car, or is it just a dome which you can adjust? Is it like a magnet on the back of the phone, and then it sits on the piece that sits in your car that's placed on the dashboard?
If I'm understanding what you're asking, guys, yes, there's a plate that you can angle depending on what size phone and exactly where you want it. It's not a huge range of motion, but it's enough that you can make some adjustments so that it's optimum. And of course, with the suction mount, it's pretty easy to, okay, I didn't get it quite right the first time, so just pick it up, move it, and suction it down again, and it stays there. Cool. So, yeah, again, I was skeptical, and the only reason I ordered it was because of who was manufacturing it, and it did not disappoint. So
excellent,
guys. That's some great picks. Some really unusual picks too.
As I said, I couldn't make the first round from the first invite, and I was I was listening to some of the early ones, and I was thinking, phew. Got away with that one, and then the second invite out, and I didn't realize what I was doing when I replied. Yeah. So I changed my tack slightly into what I'd like as well. So some Christmas picks for me. So that's where I went.
Well, that's sort of been the whole idea. Things that you give, that you can give, that you would like to get. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either, because we're all gentlemen of taste, and anything that we're asking for has obviously got to be good.
Absolutely. So if anybody would like to contact me, you can just ping me a note over on Twitter, twitter.com/GazMaz, GazMaz. You can also hear myself, my dulcet tones, along with Guy Searle on the My Mac podcast, and we call ourselves the G-Men. We have just a fun look at Apple news for the week.
Gaz, it's always a pleasure. Thanks so much for being here.
And if you want, enjoyable.
Yeah, and folks, if you want to send Gaz presents, he'll be happy to give you his shipping address. Josh, thanks so much for being here. Where can folks follow you and find you?
Thanks for having me. I'm on Twitter at JCenters, although I'm not sure why anyone would want to follow me. And then you can read my better thought out pieces on tidbits.com and my even better thought out books at takecontrolbooks.com.
Josh, I have to say, you're one of the few people that during the election season here in the U.S., I did not dread the tweets. Yours were always entertaining. So
You're a small club, Chuck.
well, perhaps. Mike, how about you? Where can folks follow and find you?
I am on Twitter at BobbleheadJoe. And you can find links to pretty much everything that I do over at MikeSchmitz.me. I podcast at the Productivity Show and Bookworm, if you're looking for my dulcet tones in your podcatcher of choice.
Well, it's good. This is your first trip to the MacJury. I hope it won't be your last.
Yeah, it was a blast. Thanks for having me.
Good. Well, we'll do it again. Folks, we will do this again, too. We have more gift juries planned because, again, everybody needs holiday gift ideas for their loved ones and occasionally for themselves. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes, links to subscribe, and to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, SoundCloud, the MacVoices blog, the MacVoices Dispatch, our weekly newsletter, and on MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard that helps you do more with your Apple tech. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.